everybody should have the same answer for that one, right? This one right here. So we break down, you crack open the API a little bit. There's some specific methods that are in it. And again, once you click that allow button, then these methods are exposed. And this users.getInfo, I'll decompose here on the next slides and the upcoming slides. But basically it returns the information for the user that clicked on the application. This friends.getList, the user that clicks on the application, this will return all of the friends for that person. And if you want to find out what the status is, then you can get it from here as well. So to decompose it a little bit, I went through my profile earlier and just some of the things that you can get from this users.getInfo. You can see here first name, last name, activities, college, birthday, current location, city, state, country, zip. Some idiots put their address on there. You can get what they're interested in, their username, who you work for, your political affiliation. You can find out what the person looks like, and a whole bunch of other things here as well. So I just thought it was interesting to see that these are exposed out through the API through this specific method here, the users.getInfo. And if you think about it, if we were going to try to create, let's say we went on to Bank of America and we wanted to open up a line of credit, trying to perhaps take somebody's identity just for an experimental purpose, of course. What information is missing, or what information is on here that you can fill out that application, and what information is missing? Well, you don't see the social on here, and that's really it. I mean, maybe mother's maiden name isn't on here, but everything else is pretty much on here. Your work history, your current location, your address. So pretty much everything else is on here for somebody to hook up a $100,000 line of credit in your favor. So I collected a bunch of data from a bunch of different users that used this survey that I had out there. And once they clicked the allow button, probably the most fascinating thing that I found, regardless if they were my friend or not, I was able to get their information. Because usually, if you're friends with somebody, you can see their information. But when they clicked on the allow button, I was able to enumerate through all of their information through the API. Some of the tidbits here: about half the profiles on there had the enhanced privacy settings turned on, and field level settings turned on, which is fantastic. That was good to see. That 50% of the people that took the survey actually cared about their information and used the privacy settings out there. About a quarter of the people filled out enough information that I could have done some data mining for targeted advertising. So that's really why or how Facebook makes its money through the targeted advertising. So the more information you fill out, I don't know if anybody that's used it, you can actually see catered advertised on either the main page or wherever you are throughout the application. So there was about a quarter of the people that I could have kept the information to do the targeted advertising for. And there were a handful of idiots out there that actually filled out all the profile information and shared everything to everyone. And I don't know how people do this, but those are the people that identity theft or people that want to do bad things want to target. So out of this population of people, the handful are the victims here. So I just thought that was a pretty cool experiment that kind of unraveled itself for me. So based off of that, I got into finding a bunch of different scams out there. There's the old Nigerian 419 There's a widget warrior, which is very similar to what I showed. There's Cube Face, which is a Facebook anagram. It's book backwards and face. Phishing, as well as contrived communities, are the different scams, and I referenced this. This is where I got that information from. But basically, the Nigerian 419 type of scam dates back. I'm sure some of you guys have seen similar emails like this in the past, where a relative of yours in Africa has died, and they left you $1 million. All you got to do is send them your credit card information, and they'll push it over to you. Well, this is very similar to that, and it's now moving through the social networking arena. One of the victims here, and I didn't put the name up here, but the victim that I have here for the example, got a message on Facebook from a friend, and the friend said that he was in the UK, he was robbed, and he needed $600 to fly back to Seattle. And the interesting thing is that it came from Facebook in an IM format and in the inbox within Facebook. And it included personal information about family member names. So this victim thought it was like authentic. And 2 hours later, $600 less in the person's pocketbook, he realized that he'd been duped. So the recommendation is for something like that, obviously, if you can, contact the person via cell phone or external email. Most of us, if they are really a friend, you can probably call up the person and say, what the heck happened, right? But this poor guy ended up getting duped out of $600. And this is not just this guy, this is a bunch of people that are out there that this is happening to. So has anybody seen those hot women that are out there that got the secret crush on you? Any of the guys in the house? Have you guys seen this? It's over on the side, usually of Facebook, saying, oh, look who has a secret crush on you. Well, it's very enticing, and the actual name is a widget warrior for that. But basically, like I said, there's a lot of badness that's going on with these third-party applications right now. They, once you allow access to it, basically they can do pretty much whatever they want. You click that allow button that I showed you earlier whenever you're being proxied to that external web space. And this particular scenario, it installs spyware on your computer, and it enumerates through all of your friends and sends them out the same message saying, click me, and look who has a crush on you. And like I said earlier, once you allow the people access to your information, it's theirs. So be careful when you're out there perusing through some of these neat little applications that are out there. I have an aunt who plays Farmville, and I don't think that she gets any work done at work at all. I don't know how her company lets her do that, but she's reached some ungodly amount of sheep or something out there. I haven't, but she's out there playing these third parties applications all the time. So it's just interesting to see this. Cube Face is it tries to trick you into a message that came from somebody else that got tricked, one of your friends. Some of the neat little things here that Paris Hilton tosses a dwarf on the street. My friend catches you on a hidden cam. Look at this home video. These are just enticements to try to get you to connect on or hit the link. But basically what it does is it redirects you to the third-party website. Like I was saying, every application out there goes to a third-party website, and it prompts you to say that your Adobe Flash Player is out of date. Just click here to update it. And once you do that, it will install a DNS filter that will not allow you to go out and try to get rid of it off of your PC. And once it's on there, the attackers can use your PC to be able to do whatever they want with it as a proxy tool. One of the things down here that the recommendation is the antivirus should catch this, but if you don't have updated antivirus, then you may be in a world of hurt. We actually had a friend of ours that clicked on this or something similar to this, and it totally wiped out her entire hard drive. And she didn't have any backups. of any of her kids' pictures, and she was just SOL for that, so I kind of felt bad for her. But again, just try to hit the point home a little bit further. Be careful when you're clicking links out there. So, in my experiment, this was going to be the next thing that I did, was to put up a fake login screen and to see how many idiots would actually look at the fake login screen and be able to give me their user ID and password. And I can tell you that the handful of people that I said that shared everything, I could imagine that probably all of them would have given me their user ID and password. But phishing is huge out there right now, and I do have to give Facebook some credit, because typically when in what I've done in research, whenever you inform them of a rogue application or something like that, they're pretty quick to shut it down. So an example of this right here is when a pastor fell for it and gave his UID and password out to one of these phishing sites, and it started sending out messages to his flock to click the same link. And the poor guy, he would put his sermons on Sundays out there on Facebook to let people listen to him again. And so he had developed a layer of trust with the 100 people that were in his congregation. So he had to go out and tell everybody to not to click on this link at the next Sunday, and just had a little bit of egg in his face. So again, the third-party applications, they are bad, and I would recommend that you stay away from them. And really, I mean, if a user ID and password appear, most of us are smart enough to look up in the URL to actually see if it is the Facebook website or an external website. So be careful what you click on, and don't enter your information, your user ID and password, unless it's on the main site within Facebook. And then finally, the contrived communities are out there. Basically, they're fake groups that are set up just so they can be marketing scams. And when one of your friends clicks the link, it will go through and send out an email to all the friends in that person's profile, and try to get them to join that link as well. I'm sure that somebody out here has played one of the groups, or gone to one of the groups saying, "What is your favorite car?" Or there's a whole bunch of things you could know. But basically, whenever you click the link, this contrived community actually goes into the API, gets your friend list, and will send it out. The same message to try to get more and more people to join, so they can data mine like I showed up here. So be careful what groups you're wanting to join, and if you haven't done any research on the group, don't just click the link saying accept. But that should be pretty much common sense, I think. So there's a bunch of investigations, and like I said whenever I started the discussion, that I had to consolidate all my information. I had over 120 slides, and like you do, once you start to dig in and actually do some research, you just get overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that you can try to cover. But I narrowed it down, and this was kind of an interesting little investigation that happened with this guy. His name is Maxi Sopo, and basically he was charged with bank fraud in Seattle, and he was on the run. He was using Facebook to update where he was at, and this guy, he added a former justice official as one of his friends. And yeah, so he told all of his friends, he went out there and posted and said, I'm sitting on the beach down here in Mexico, I'm loving life, and he mentioned a specific restaurant that he had just been to and met a girl or something. But basically, he was living in paradise in Mexico and posting it out there, and sure enough, they went down there and got it. So law enforcement is starting to use social networking sites, not just Facebook, to their advantage as well, to try to leverage the power that it has to be able to to go and catch bad people that are out there. So some of the recommendations that I have here. How many of you guys can access Facebook at the office place? Okay, that means you've tried at the office place.
But I block it for the rest of my life.
So one of the recommendations is to block it at the office. You know, the dark reading here in November 2007 says that about half of the companies out there block not only Facebook but popular social networking sites. Some people post about work, or post at work about work. Let me make sure he's under here. I don't see him here, so I think I can say this. There was one guy who I had a friend, that's a friend of mine, that posted something and was showing some things that I thought were inappropriate on there on Facebook. He'd done a screenshot of a database schema and posted it out there on Facebook. And I sent him a message privately saying, you know, I think you should probably remove that, man. And he ended up doing it. But really, if you think of Dilbert here, you know, people post about work. Really, you can. The Dilbert slide I said before kind of says it all. About the web surfing restrictions here, 70% say that the reasons why they're enforcing the blocking is because of virus and spyware prevention. And really, unless it's at lunch break, I guess, but people start to take advantage of it if it's even offered at all. And then there's all sorts of liability issues that could come out of that, as well as bandwidth. So that's what the recommendation is just block it at the office and you use it when you get home. Have people use it when they get home. So for yourself, some of the recommendations here, this is off of US CERT, some of the tips that they give. Go in and actually read the privacy statements on Facebook or any of the social networking sites that are out there. Limit, if not everything, as far as personal information out there, limit the amount of information that you put out there. One of the things that I said here is use strong passwords. There's no reason why you shouldn't use the same sort of password policy for any of these websites or your external emails that you use at work. So just use strong passwords, and like I said, go out and read the privacy policies. Make sure you understand exactly what Facebook is going to share your information within the United States there. One of the big things that I wanted to mention, and I went out and asked Dr. Google to help me out about it, but I referenced the article down here. For keeping kids safe on Facebook, really the next generation is going to be using this. If they already aren't, then they will. But be friends with the kids on Facebook. The recommendation is to keep the computer in an open area and sit down and talk about rules and the dangers that come involved with some of these social networking sites. There's even a recommendation to consider implementing parental controls in your home network. So, in summary, we went over the basics. I talked about the profiles. We went through some of the experiments that I had. Went through some of the scams and investigations. And I went and recommended some things. Is there any questions at this point for me? Yes.
Do you know how the spyware is installed?
Do I know how the spyware is installed when I click the allow button?
Because I don't know, I just thought that maybe Facebook would protect you from spyware links.
So, Facebook will work with people that report rogue applications. But once you click the allow button, it proxies you over to another website that has the look and feel of a Facebook application. So it's actually the other website out there. So Facebook kind of says you're on your own at that point, and you're allowing access to that other website. Can I answer your question? Yes?
Well, at that point where, you know, where you're going to click on allow, can't you just look at the URL and see where you're going to go before you hit the allow button? Does it show that?
No, it does not. You set that up within the configuration whenever the developer is setting up the application to point it to the external facing web directory. And then Facebook just, if you go on and click on it, because I'm sure all you guys will go home and click on the applications tonight, but you can go and it's actually apps.facebook.com, and you can see what the URL or what the application was called, but then it's actually proxied over to another website. So it's kind of interesting the way that works. Yes, in the back.
I just wanted to comment that it amazes me how many people get on Facebook and say that they're going to be gone on vacation for a week or whatever. And some people put their addresses in their profile and then say
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
I don't even like to put that I'm going to be gone for an hour. You just don't know.
Right. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yes.
There's a big push this season with Black Friday coming out where we advertise it to target.
Target the folks out there, Black Friday.
Black Friday. Like Twitter users or Facebook users.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big marketing push.
That's a good point. Anybody else? Yes.
Can you delete Facebook account? Maybe disable.
I haven't tried to delete a Facebook account. I'll tell you what, after I go home tonight, I'm going to delete this experimental user, so I can let you know and follow up with you on that.
You can remove the entire account.
Yeah?
Yes.
There we go.
Doesn't mean it's removed from any search engine.
That's true.
So you know, for your Facebook, you're going to do. What are you going to tell people who start looking for you?
I'm just going to delete the buggy shoes. You have a question in the back?
How do you decide which apps to accept or not accept? Right now, I don't accept it, and I don't like that. Allow me access to all your information.
Yeah, that's kind of scary when they say that you can allow access to all your information. I would say just use your discretion on that, because you gotta be careful with that. So yeah, don't use them. They're a waste of time. Okay.
Good. Any more questions for Ben? Okay. Ben, we thank you very much.